Welcome to today's episode of Play With It with Cass Allen. Happy weekend to you all. We're ending this week talking about family relative to arriving to adulthood. Throughout the week, we've been talking about the different stages of our journey from birth up until the moment we're discussing today, which is where you hit that milestone of autonomy. As we've been discussing, there are so many things that are crucial to our development and how we navigate throughout our journey on this planet. We have a mix of family, friends, mentors, and peer groups. And based on that and whatever reasoning skills we have, we basically navigate ourselves through this thing called life. And then we hit a point where it's like, boom, I can do what I want to do, basically. I've hit adulthood. I've hit that age where there are things I can now do that I couldn't do. And we're going to touch briefly on a few categories. Let's talk about finance. Now we've reached a point where we can genuinely budget for ourselves. We can go out there and get full-time jobs and credit and save, independent of our parents setting up accounts for us. Relative to legal stuff, we can now vote. You can go on jury duty, and you also can create independent contracts without your parents, with a number of people setting up all types of business transactions, health, and things of that nature. Relative to your personal identity, you reach a point where you're no longer under the nest of your parents' values necessarily. You may be pulling from a pool of things you've been taught, but your final thoughts are yours. They don't involve other people signing papers on behalf of you or making decisions on behalf of you. You now are more engaged with your peers, no longer subjected to being around the people that your parents or guardians choose for you. You have more independence here. You really actually can say things like, I'm going to choose to have this person in my life, whether you like it or not, because I'm grown. Because you've reached a point where you're actually equal to your parents on a level as peership as it relates to the law and governing adults, which is a whole different thing from how your parents may see you on a peer level as far as guidance, as we all know. It's fuck what you heard. I brought you here. I'll take you out kind of energy sometimes if need be, which overrules these equality measures that we speak on. At this point, in that adulthood, you now, as I said, you get to choose your circles. It's not mandated by what your guardians prefer for you. You've reached a point where you don't even have to be under the residence of your guardians. You can legally move out, and no one can file a missing persons file on you, claim on you, because you're an adult and you can do what you want to do. And the moment the police come to the place where you stay and see that you willfully have taken residence and we're under no harm, you know, uh, things are bad for your parents. Relative to healthcare, now you have the option of getting your own insurance, and you need to put more energy into your mental acuity. You're no longer under the umbrella of necessarily you may not be under the umbrella of the health insurance of your guardians. Some guardians want you to become very autonomous and start taking care of yourself in all forms. They'll hand you your birth certificate, your social security card, and tell you, you've been watching me all these years, you know what you need to do. If you need help, let me know, kind of energy. Now it's up to you to have your routine care performed for your health instead of having your guardian come and say it's time to go to the doctor. You need triggers on your phones and then your charts, your medical reports. You go from pediatric to adult providers. Excuse me, at this point. It's no longer someone else making decisions about your body. You may go to your guardians for advice and help, like, oh my God, this is what the doctor told me, or even still have them sit in. But the ultimate decision will now come from you saying yay or nay to things. Even if you're saying it because your parents told you these things, the doctors will now need to hear it from you. So, personality, identity really begins to take center stage as we come into our adulthood, provided, the exception to not being coddled, held back, or, practicing a different life due to neurological challenges. family. And by now, you spent 18, 21 years around them, getting to know the people in your surroundings. May they be guardians or parents, siblings, cousins, grandparents, aunties, uncles, whatever the relationships you've been building or not building. It is a time where if you believe that blood runs deep enough that lineage has some matter to you, that it's time to round the troops. As I mentioned earlier, the arsenal, standing like in the bleachers, watching the child develop into adulthood and prepare to take on some roles as those same people who are standing there rooting and become the family to their children and, take on their friends and become mentors to other people and start peer groups even perhaps. It's really important that as we navigate through our relationships that we can hopefully have clean cut, clear, honest relationships with those who are in our bloodline. As I tell a friend all of the time, we make the mistake of going, okay, somebody in your family fucked for you, somebody in that same family fucked for me. That means the two of us have to, get along. I'm not saying that we shouldn't try, for those who believe in the sharing of DNA and the ties that bind. But if someone's not treating you right, I don't think that you should be in a situation that's unhelpful to you. And I think this is a lesson that is important to teach children from the gate. And as they move into adulthood, they walk out of the nest armed to not be doormats and subjugated to other people's ills and disappointments and bad days. A part of autonomy to me means navigating so that one doesn't get, put in harm's way. Much like a video game, when you're playing it and you're in your little capsule and you out there firing on other people, the whole point of the game is to avoid danger. It's not to just sit there and let everybody else fire on you, as so many people do on emotional levels. You fall in love or you have blood ties that make you feel all types of guilt that paralyze you into allowing things to happen in your life that you wouldn't ordinarily allow if there were no blood ties. So I'm always going to emphasize and continue to emphasize as these children are arriving into adulthood that you prepare them to tell people fuck out of here, even if it's family. Yeah, we have a lot of families where we call people auntie and uncle because of their age, and we're supposed to be polite, and they commit offenses and we don't talk about it. It's time to teach the kids to talk about it. I have a show called Blood Runs Deep, which is on web channel, YouTube, a weekly series about a dysfunctional family full with secrets. They go to therapy. And a common tie in their families is a lot of a common tie is a lot of things are allowed because people are blood and not because of you reacting to someone's true character. um Over the next few weeks, that's basically a high level of what we're going to explore. How we are psychologically impacted by our family, how our blood can run so deep that we can allow ourselves to be put in unhealthy situations. And we're going to call them out, the dysfunction of it, and talk about some of the things that we can do to strengthen ourselves, to learn how to apply healthy behavior regardless of the relationship that we have with someone, to not be hurt because this is my uncle, but I have all the energy in the world to fight a stranger in the street and they both committed the same offense. I say fight them both. And that's what we're going to talk about. Take some of the shame off of the things that we do allow to happen in our lives as a result of lineage. Next week should be a lot of fun. And y'all know I like to jab. I've been laid back with it lately. I haven't been making fun of much, having fun exploring much, but it's coming. I haven't changed at all. Just chilling right now. I'm enjoying y'all supporting me. Thank you for it. This has been Cass Allen on Play With It. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good night. And we chat next week.